Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decipher the sometimes confusing world of corporate filings. Today we're diving into a recent report from Matthews International. Get ready because it involves votes, plans, and maybe a few surprises along the way. It's not quite a soap opera, but there's definitely some drama in these documents, or at least the potential for it. This report is an 8K, which is basically a snapshot of important events that happened at Matthews International. The main event, their annual shareholder meeting that took place in February. So what exactly went down at this meeting? Well, shareholders got to vote on some key issues, and the results are now public. Let's break it down into easy to understand pieces. First off, a good turnout is always a sign of engaged investors. In this case, about 91% of the eligible shares were represented at the meeting, which means people were paying attention and cared about the decisions being made. The first big item on the agenda was electing members to the company's board of directors, kind of like choosing the team captains for the next 3 years. There were some existing board members running to keep their position, plus others that were suggested, and it looks like things got a little interesting here. The shareholders had to vote for 3 positions. The results show Terry Dunlap, Alvaro Garcia Tunon, and Michael Naumann won the election. This means that the company shareholders decided to keep these 3 people, at least for now. However, there were also votes for Anna Amicarella, Chan Galbardo, and James Mitarotonda. While these candidates weren't elected this time, the number of votes they received are worth noting because this means a significant portion of shareholders wanted them on the board. Next up, the shareholders voted on something called the Second Amended and Restated 2017 Equity Incentive Plan. That might sound like corporate jargon, but it's actually about how the company plans to motivate and reward its employees, specifically with company stocks. The shareholders approved this plan. This means that the company now has the green light to use stock options and other stock-based awards as a way to attract, retain, and motivate employees. Basically, they can give employees a piece of the company. Then the shareholders were asked to give the thumbs up to Ernst & Young, a well-known accounting firm as the company's official scorekeepers, to audit the books for the upcoming year. The shareholders agreed to this. Having a trusted and independent auditor is a big deal because it helps ensure that the company's financial statements are accurate and reliable, giving investors confidence. Finally, shareholders got to weigh in on how much the top executives are getting paid. It's an advisory vote, meaning the company doesn't absolutely have to do what the shareholders say, but it's still a good way to gauge investor sentiment on executive pay. The shareholders agreed with how the executives are being paid. Although this vote isn't binding, it shows that most shareholders are happy with the current compensation packages. And that wraps up the key details from this 8K filing. It's signed off by the Chief Financial Officer, which makes it official. Now let's zoom out and take a broader look at Matthews International. Based on this report, things seem to be running relatively smoothly. The board elections had a bit of competition, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it shows that investors are engaged and have different ideas about who should be leading the company. The approval of the equity incentive plan is also a positive sign, as it means the company can continue to use stock-based rewards to keep its employees motivated. One potential area of caution is the advisory vote on executive compensation. While the shareholders approved the compensation packages, it's worth keeping an eye on this in the future. If there's growing discontent about executive pay, it could signal a larger problem with the company's overall strategy or performance. Looking ahead, Matthews International seems to be on a steady course. However, it's always important to remember that the stock market can be unpredictable. Based on the current information and using a simple valuation approach like comparing Matthews to its competitors and looking at its earnings, a reasonable price range for the stock might be somewhere between $60 and $70. That said, always do your own research and consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. In conclusion, Matthews International appears to be a company that is doing fairly well, at least for now. The shareholder meeting went smoothly and the company has the tools it needs to keep its employees motivated and its finances in order. I would say I'm slightly bullish on the stock, at least for the short term. Thanks for tuning in to Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'll continue decoding the corporate world, one filing at a time.